Welcome everyone, today I have a new guide for Honkai starrail. In this video, we're looking into a very core aspect of the game, which is going to be the relics. Relics will be the equipment or the artifacts in the game. And in this video, we'll go through the basic understanding of the relics, what are the stats you can roll, what are the sets you can go for, and what are the grades for the relics. And also we're looking into a very interesting aspects of the relics for Honkai starrail, and this is the breaking effect. And we'll go through some of the interesting and also amazing guides from different YouTubers and also different guides on the internet about dealing the highest damage with breaking effect. So on the second part, we'll focus on this special stat for the game and also how does this work. We'll have some summary notes and we'll go through the understanding of this particular stat and how we can do the highest damage with even some of the 4-star characters. We'll also be looking into different stats that is available in the game that increase our elemental damage, critical damage, and also all sorts of damage, and also defensive and also utility capacities. And of course, we're looking into the rolling of the stats for different relics. So this video will focus on the relics and give you the best understanding of some critical stats and also special stats like the breaking effect and also speed in the game. Now coming over to our notes, as you guys can see over here, the relics in starrail will be breaking down into 6 different types. This consists of head, hands, body, feet, planar, spear, and also link ropes. And different relics, depending on the grade of relics, you can have the main stat and also sub stats. And the relics can be level up to level 15. Now if you have played Genshin Impact before, this seems very familiar. There's some difference in terms of the stats, of course, we'll talk about it. And when you get a legendary gear, you can roll up to 4 different substats, and those substats can be upgraded 5 times up to level 15. So coming over to some of the basics for the stats, we can see that the main stat of the relics will be available over here. So you can see the main stat for this particular link rope is the attack percentage. This is actually not bad. And you can see what is going to be the main stat of what items. Some main stats for certain type of items only have one type. So for heads, this only have flat HP. And also similar for hands, this only have flat attack. Other type of the main stats can roll into a lot of different stats. Some of the stats to be focusing on is going to be speed, elemental damage, and also break effect. Those are going to be some very interesting stats that you will be looking into for more damage and also more utility. Now over here, we also have a list of available substats that can roll under the main stat. So you can see the main stat over here and the substats of those. We cannot get the same substat as the main stat. So if your main stat is attack percentage, you cannot get that with the substats. Now as we're briefly going further, we can see that relics are broken down into 4 different categories of the rarity. So going from the green rarity with the 2 stars up to the golden rarity with the 5 stars. Now usually players will be only using the purple 4-star rarity and also the 5-star rarity. And at the start of the game, most players will have the purple relics. And later in the game, we'll go for better stats with the 5-star relics. And just a small note over here, you can see that it is not recommended to upgrade relics beyond level 9. Because the cost is actually extraordinarily high after level 9, and it's not that worth it until we have the perfect relic at the starter of the build. Now in case you guys are wondering, a lot of the notes and also understanding are coming from Prod.gg, and we'll be coming back to the relic set effects very soon for those different relics that's in the game. And also we do have a YouTube guide that will be coming on the next part. So if you guys do want to see the links, see the description below for those links for additional information. Now keep going over to the categories of relics for different characters. So characters can be differentiated into 3 relic or 4 relic types. So the DPS characters can pick from the classical DPS, which you go attack, elemental damage, critical chance, also critical damage. And also there is a special type of DPS character that can go with a break effect. And this is actually very powerful in the game. Now as for the supporting characters, for the healers, we can go with HP and also speed. For the shielders that provide the defensive shield for the characters, we can go with defense and also speed. And for the other characters that is also utility, we can go with speed and also other stats that fits the character. For example, for Bronya, she can go with speed and also attack, or maybe for critical chance bonus for the other characters. Now in order to understand the relics a little more, let's come over here to see what are the relics you want at the start of the game. And before understanding that, I really want to highlight this particular one. So what we're looking for is, we're looking for relics that have the correct stats for the start of the game. At the start of the game, you'll be having a lot of 4-star relics, and likely you'll get those relics to level 6 or level 9. And what we're looking for is, we're looking for the main stats to be the ideal main stat. Then we're going for the set effect of the relics, and then followed by the sab effects. And this will be the same case for the 5-star relics. Get it to level 9 max and go for the main stats over the set effect, and then go for over the sab stats. Now, why you might be thinking, why is this the case? It's because at the start of the game, the main stats contribute a lot to your damage. And for most characters, it is better to go with attack percentage, elemental damage, or maybe breaking effect over critical chance, because you need a lot of higher critical chance, attack, and also critical damage to make critical rate work. So most characters, it is recommended going with attack percentage if you're doing damage. And this is why the category over here, you can see the main stats for the DPS characters, for the classical DPS characters, it is recommended to just go with flat percentage attack, like attack percentage over here and also elemental percentage over here. Now, because we can wear up to 6 different relics, we can have 2 categories of effects. So just one of the example over here, you can see this particular relic set have 2 effects for 2 pieces and also for 4 pieces. And here you can see this relic have a 2-piece effect. So what that means is, because coming back over here, you can see we have 6 different slots for relics, so we can have 2 different effects of 2 different sets. So briefly coming over here to the set effects of the relics, we can see the relics are broken down into the relic set and also the planetary ominent set. So if we go over and have a look at all the sets, you can see some of the relic set will focus on elemental attack. And for a character that deals elemental damage, like Seva over here, she'll be dealing lightning damage. And lightning damage is really good for those attackers. And this is similar the case for the physical damage, for the fire damage, and those are very straightforward. Now, I have the links available for this particular site, and if you're searching for damage, you can just type fire and this will come up. It does not come up over here, a little unfortunate, so it only comes up with the names, so keep that in mind. So if I want to go with cold, notice it doesn't come up, but if I go with cold damage over here, oh no, it doesn't come up with something. Does it say ice? It's ice. I was typing code. So ice damage increase. So if you're searching for certain, stats of the relics, use the find function on the bar over here, and you should be find the relics you wanted. Now, just a general rule of thumb, for DPS attackers, you might want elemental damage and also the sab stats coming with the relics for the full set. And then you can look into the critical rate or critical chance for the other 2 pieces. So those combination, let's say if I'm a lightning attacker, the lightning damage bonus and also the attack increase, and then we're going for the critical damage and also critical chance increase is actually not bad. But of course, you really need a high critical rate to make this artifact work. Now, there are of course a lot of utility relic sets like this one over here, increase the wearer's maximum HP by 8% and also provide allies with 8% attack increase when you have a high speed. And this is why coming back, you can see some of the supporting, especially healers, they want to go with HP, they want to go with speed. And this is one of the reasons. Simply because if you have a certain requirement that is fitted, you can be providing mob damage for your whole team. And this is when we come over to the relic stats. You can see for different relics, they will have different stats. And it is always recommended to go with a 5-star relic because it will provide you with high stats. For example, over here, you can see a 4-star relic will provide us with 2.7 to 3.3 attack. And with a 5-star, it's this 3.4 to 4.3. Now, this might not be as clear, so let me go further a little bit to show you guys a little more over here. So you can see the comparison over here. So the attack stats for a 4-star relic is 54 to 67. With a 5-star relic, it is almost double to 101 to 126. And this is also the case for speed. So we can see there's a lot of stats differential if you go for the lower grade of relics or higher grade. And this is why we recommend going with the 4-star relics, don't worry too much at the start of the game, and then eventually get into the 5-star relics. And this will be the end game with the best stats. Now, because stats rolling is going to be a little complicated with the gears and the raw relics, I plan to make a future video as we get into the middle stage of the game, as we start to get more 5-star relics. And this will take us some time, because a lot of the dungeons that drops relics, they will drop 4-star relics first. And eventually, once we have 5-star relics, this will change a lot of the gaming style and also change the builds massively. And just to show you guys the variety of the relics, you can see some of the defensive relics provide defense, and also attack relics, and also different relics with a different effect while hitting enemies. And other relics will provide with increased healing. So there's a lot of options we can pick from. And make sure you guys search for the bars you want to see different type of relics and also effects. Now the second thing I really want to highlight, which is going to be the highlight of this video, is that a lot of my viewers have been sharing and talking about this particular video and similar videos about the breaking guide and also the breaking weakness for Honkai starrail. So this is a very good video. I had a look. This is from Eclipse Sinner. I do recommend coming over to this video for more details. But here I also have a summary which I learned from this video. Notice that he's doing a tremendous damage with a 4-star free character. So we can see his Danhin was hitting over 80,000 damage in the closed beta. So how does he do this? The focus of his stats is actually not on attack, elemental damage, or critical chances. He is using a buffer called Brownia that provides him with more critical chance and also more speed in the game. Now what he is building is that he is building for breaking effect, and this is the highlight I want to share with you guys on this part. Now upon close inspection with all the stats, we can see there's a breaking effect bonus for a lot of relics. So coming back over here, you can see some of the relics over here, they have a breaking effect and also breaking effect over here. And the sub stats also have breaking effect. And the breaking effect will allow you to deal additional damage onto enemies once you break the shield. And there's also a lot of different sets of relics that provide more breaking effect. So we can see one of the set over here with 20% effect and also another 20% effect. And over here, we can see there's another 2 set with 20% effect and also with additional speed, another 28%. So right away with those 2 pieces, so 2 sets with 4 set and also with the 2 set, we can have over 88% breaking effect. And this can stack tremendously. Now, it is quite easy to build for breaking effect because this is a single stat compared to building for attack, critical, and also critical damage. And this is why this is a non-traditional build for the specialty of the theme of the game. Now there will be a drawback with building breaking effect. It is that we have to match the elements of the characters against the enemies. But the good thing is, you can be swapping your artifacts and also relic sets onto different characters, and there's no cost of swapping. So let's say if you're facing a monster that is not wind, so here you can see Danhin hitting a wind enemy. If you're facing an enemy that is, let's say, physical, you can use a physical character to do similar damage. And of course, the best physical damaged character for the 4-star will be Xu Shen, which is 4-star, and she is incredibly good. It is that she can do over 90,000 damage with the same relic set compared to the character over here with Danhin. Now in order to explain this special effect of breaking weakness to more details, let's come over to some of the summary notes found in Eclipse Sinner over here. So I'm learning a lot from him, and this is actually one of the highlights. I was like, oh, this actually looks pretty good, right? So a lot of viewers were saying to have a look at this one and also to explain this in more details. So here we'll have some clips. Make sure to come over to his full video if you want to see more details and also see his testing as well. So as a quick summary from the video, we can see that enemies will have a toughness that is on top of their HP, and depending on the element, this would indicate how much toughness to be reduced, and once it is reduced, enemies will suffer breaking damage and also breaking effect. So the damage we deal to enemies is fixed depending on 2 things. One is what is the level of the enemy, and second is what is your level of the character. And then, depending on the different type of skills, you can be dealing different amount of breaking damage. And of course, ultimate tend to deal more breaking damage and also to break more shield. Now, one special tip from our YouTuber friend over here is that he highlighted the current hardest content is for level 90 enemies with memory chaos for floor 10. And in order to break different enemies, our characters can be on level 60 or on level 80, because between level 61 to level 79, there is no change with breaking damage for the enemy toughness. And there are 2 different strategies he was recommending, that if you keep your whole team on level 60, you devise and also focus your resource on other things to gain more damage. Or you can try to focus your team to level 80, which will provide you with more breaking damage and also to break through the shield. But of course, you'll have less investment onto other parts of the game. So what happens with the breaking damage? You can see the bar over here on the monster, and over here on the monster bar, it is getting lower. And as you break down the monster will take additional bonus damage, and this is how Danhin was able to hit this additional bonus damage over 80,000. And on top of that, depending on the elements that you're breaking the enemy with, they have special effect. Some elements will provide crowd control effect that slows down enemies or freezes them. Other elements will provide a damage over time. Sometimes they provide both, but with a little weaker version. So the bonus damage is going to be massive compared to most of the other damages. And if we do scale for over 200% of the breaking damage, This can be a very good combination against most enemies. Now, one thing we do want to highlight is that breaking damage bonus does not affected by attack, critical, or critical damage of the character. So you don't have to go for those stats if you're going for breaking effect. It is affected by penetration, but this is not the most biggest stat. We'll be building a lot of breaking effect up to 100 or 200% for certain characters. Now, one of the highlight over here is that physical damage is said to be the highest breaking effect damage in the game for the raw damage. And for a great Xu build, this is actually a really good combination. So Xu, one of the best 4-star DPS character in the game, can build into breaking damage to deal tremendous damage. And in the video, our friend Ellipsina over here said Xu can deal over 90,000 damage with the same breaking items. Now, hopefully this video helped you guys to better understand the game mechanics and also different building of different characters in the game. Because Honkai starrail have a special effect with breaking damage and also breaking effect, we can be building damage characters differently. And this is why I really want to use the second part to highlight this particular trick and also method to you guys, which deals tremendous damage, much higher than the traditional characters. And in the future, we'll have videos and also guides for different characters that can build for attack, critical damage, or elemental damage. And other characters like Xu that can go with breaking effect and also deal a lot of damage. Now, finally, before we finish, in the future videos, we'll look into speed. Because, starrail is going to be a turn-based game, speed is also going to be a massive factor. And if we do have PvP content in the future, speed will be the best stat in the game. We'll talk about this in more details in the future videos. Now, before you go, and if you guys didn't know, we have a new YouTube channel. And if you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe and check out the behind the scenes and also fun clips and also more stories about us. And then you get to know me a little more personally instead of just reading the news and also the games, right? So I want to share a little bit more with you guys. So make sure you check this channel out if you're interested about Matt and also Uni. She's really funny too, and she's really shy. So I want to give her a surprise and do a shout out for the new channel to get some subscribers. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time.